We are live. Who all is in here? Danny Boyd was here. I didn't put the live thumbnail up till just a little bit ago. But Danny Boyd saying Jethro, indeed. He has the right idea with the cold weather coming. Colleen Tebow is here. Buff Del Campo. Ryan Barsness from a place much colder than here. Heavens Mopar Scott with an S. How's it going, Scott? That will be a car again. Southern Juju is here. Mostly Old Parts and Rust Patrick. And the boss, Jackie Abbott. Indirect Connection, Hot Rod Guy Garage. My Aunt Nancy is here. Aunt Nancy, did you see the thumbnail? Charger 383 Mopar William. Well, how is everybody? I see NSB is here. The One-Eyed Cat, Ron English. Pure Pontiac, Andrew Nelson. Dean Stevenson. Glad you all could make it in here. Mohawk 62. Yeah, well, how long I'll be on tonight? It's nothing really planned other than this is just a good time to see all of you guys. This is the time I set aside to get to hang out with everybody. I actually, if you notice, the ink is a little darker here, and that's because that's last year's 251. I am down to one really mangled sheet of the orange paper, and I got the wrong shade. So I'm going to swap that out top of the week, and we'll be fine. Got what we need, but it's just, So that sheet's got the distinction of being recycled. It's the first one that's ever done that, so. But it'll still go in the second annual binder. Indirect Connection is here. Mexican Spec. Bruce Culkin says 39 here. Hello, Bombay. I thought you said for a minute you were in Bombay. William says he's picked up some Krager SST rims for the Charger. Yeah, the thing about the Krager rims, you can find good ones. You can get deals on them. It's just how good is the chrome still? That's the key to all of it with those. Kim, monkey bike stuff is coming very soon. I said by the end of January. I got to pin a couple people down to make that happen, though. But yes, in fact, what I'll do is as soon as we got it, I'll send it out individually to folks who I know are coming back or ran last year or whatnot. Charger 383 Mopar Williams says it's actually not too bad. Yeah, that's the thing. Like I remember when the Kragers on my car looked so good, and then after they got lost for about 20 years, ooh, yeah, no. And I actually priced having them powder coated, but it's just terrible. What makes the Krager so bad is that it's got an so bad on cosmetically, is it's got an aluminum center, a steel rim. They have to be plated, to my understanding, they're plated separately and welded together. I can't even imagine trying to do that. So it used to cost as much as it did to buy new wheels to do that process. Although those things are so high now, I have no idea if that's still true or not. But, oh well. I've got the thing's actually got 15, I believe, by 6s on the front, which is kind of crazy. So I've got some 4.5s. I got some 15 by 4.5s for it. I could put on there and probably will. And we'll take it from there. I may wind up trying to do a little bit of poor man chrome work on it. I see my mom is here. Bigfoots and Mopars is here. How's it going, Mark? Are you all ready for the cold to come in? I hear people talking about it like the apocalyptic blizzard is about to hit. And, we were really lucky on the last one. It missed us. Technician Troy, changing the oil pan on my Silverado. What were you doing, wheel stands in that thing or something? What happened to your oil pan? Yeah, Danny Boyd says clean up and polish. They should be look okay. Yeah, we'll see. I actually want those to look nice. um, if you have a vintage race car, I mean, as much as I like, roadshow patina rides and paint and stuff, not for that one because that's not how it ran in the day. Really nice looking car. You can see it on my channel art. It really needs to look sharp, and I want the wheels to look right. Evans Mopar saying 15 by 14. Krager SS some marketplace. Yeah, that's for a steamroller. Mine are 15 by. Looking at them, I think they're 8s. 9-inch tire. Car had 10.5-inch tires on it though on the same wheels, but that's not nearly enough wheel for that kind of tire. It certainly works a lot better with a wider wheel. Although with the 9-inch slick, I can just keep what I have. I don't know what I'm going to do yet though. I want to put back on it what it ran. Whether it's exactly the same wheels, I'm not sure. Rabbit Transit Garage, Jay is here. How's it going, sir? Jay came up. We were talking about some trivia with the No Name 500, and this will come up later. The trivia. The first channel to make 500 in the No Name 500 was RC Industry. The first channel to register in the No Name 500 was Rabbit Transit Garage, and they were, I think, within a day, I think, of making 500 each of them. So a little bit of trivia. Because as this progression goes on, we're going to have more and more interesting trivia from this event. Yeah, we've got a guest coming up a little bit later. We're going to start, obviously, as the No Name 500 guys start getting close, we're going to have them on. So we're going to be doing that. We'll be doing that again this year. That's a fun part. Although we've been doing so well with the No Name 500 guys getting their 500 and then re-registering in subsequent years that it makes for fewer 500 guys to start off the season with, which it's a good problem to have because even though the No Name 500 starts a little slow or might not be as big, the overall registration gets bigger because they come back. Mars Ness says I hit 500 early but wasn't registered. Well, you know what? I hit 500 years before the No Name National, so some of us did it that way, right? I was talking with lots of if the No Name Nationals was in 2019, your No Name 500 would have me, the Bad Tree guys, Just Mopar Joe, Andy Wood. We would have been in that class. We would have been in the No Name 500. That would have been fun. I mean, everybody's been there. It's just now it's a thing. It wasn't a thing back then. Aunt D. Aunt D, what does that mean? Aunt D. I see Thumper's in here. Glad you're here, man. Thumper is registered and ready to make it happen. You want to share anything about your plans, about what's coming down? I see Thumper being one of these guys that can be pretty sneaky. One-eyed cat Dawn is here. Glad you're here. I don't know. I set some stickers right on my shelf here and they slid off. What caused that? Since that happened, I'll give some away. I have to pick them up now. Where'd y'all go? Who knows on my printer? I fell all the way in behind my cabinet. All right. Since these slid off, I'm gonna give some away. These are new. I just added these to the website, so let's do this. They elected themselves to be given away. How many gonna give away? Let's give away. Like 5 sets of them. There we go. This will be fun. I just trim off however many and send them out. There we go. We'll do 5 sets of these. I mean, I pretty much give them away anyway. You can order these for $3 on the site. And these are outdoor grade vinyl, counts of shipping and everything. The house makes a whole 62 cents on a pair of these. But I'm going to give away 5 sets of them tonight just because they nominated themselves. How about that? Heavens Mopar says the answer is 7. Correct. First pair goes to Scott. Colleen, you're the secretary. How about that? How many people are here? 46 people are in here? Man, that turned into a lot of postage for the house, though. Oh my gosh. We're gonna do 4 more sets, then we'll see what we do from that. I'll give out a whole lot more of them, like, later, just because, when I see people, it's easy to do all that. Busted Radial says, what's up, all BRG in the house? How you doing, Busted Radial? Glad you're here. Mexican Specs says, I'll stay out of it. I'm waiting for the first one. Man, I don't remember when. I know we were trying to see how long that would take to get to you, and so you still haven't. I don't know how many days that's been now, but you said it would be spring or something, as slow as the mail is. So that's interesting. Yeah, let's have a little fun giving these away. Chris, I'll let you call it in the chat if you want to ask a question, if you want to call the winner. Dust Devil Garage is here. Yeah, Jabo, I noticed Jabo was commenting. He was watching some of my old Torque Flight videos, and he was commenting on the pressure plate that had broken into a bunch of pieces. And so that one had done that. It had gotten really hot toward it, actually fractured the pressure plate into 8 pieces. And I noticed in Dawn's, when I took it down, the pressure plate in the 727 is much bigger, so it would take even more heat to do that. But the one of the steels was really warped in One-Eyed Cat's transmission. You drop the thing on a table and you could really see it. It would just rock. So, yeah, that's a thing. And Cope said it comes from running them low on fluid will cause them to do that. Which just, I don't know. I really had to think about that because you typically run your forward clutch at like 30 thousandths clearance, 28, 30 to 40, somewhere right in there. And you would think with it being tight like that and staying on all the time, or at least all the time in forward, it's always on without doing any shifting, it wouldn't build that much heat. But I don't know. I don't know if it's from idling like that and it just running close and no fluid. I don't know. This is an interesting one. Twisted Mopar Garage is here. I think Thumper had a great idea. Whoever is in here right now, like we got 47 watching, but some people probably just got it like running in the back. I'm gonna send out a bunch of these things. Let's try to do this with an auto sort. So hang on a minute. See if Secretary Colleen is in here. Colleen, are you at the wheel at the moment? Yeah, because these suckers are new. Not everybody has these. A lot of people have the decals. Hey, Colleen, if you would, like the first 20 people who post the word sticker and spell it right in the comments, gets a pair of stickers. Not including you. You get a set anyway. So for doing the work. So the first 20 besides Colleen, put the word stickers in the chat. Send out a pair. See? Start with, yeah, there you go. There we go. That's right. Not doing points off for plural. Wow. You know, you can tell me people are awake when you do something like that. Check that out. Jeez. Cool. Oh, by the way, Johnny C, like several of you guys, I have your shipping information, but yeah, blue collar name. If you have to spell it right, I'm pretty well screwed. If you if I don't have if I've never sent you anything before, like in my shipping software I do for shirts and stuff, I've got your information, but for anything else, I probably don't, and some of you I don't. So my email, if you would call in and put it in the chat, that'd be great. John@PrincetonDragway.com. You can email me there and I'll get them sent out to you. Only got 19. My goodness. Well, don't forget to add yourself and add Thumper to that. BNR says, how cold is it getting there? It's not bad. It was about 39, 40 today, something like that. It's not too bad. I hear it'll be 9, 10 degrees later in the week. 30, 40% chance of snow, but none of it's bad. Chabo put decal. We actually have both decals and stickers. The decals, they're great. They're a heavier vinyl made for outdoor. Like this is what you would put on your race car right here, or on your trailer or something. These are outdoor rated. I mean, they're exterior rated, but they're lighter, and these are perfect for like toolboxes or refrigerators and stuff like that. Although they are outdoor rated, they also have a white background, so you can see that they're on a white background. So if you peel that off and stick it, it still will be. These, on the other hand, are cut out. So if you wanted to put these for a clean look on something black or something, or any other color than white, you would do something like this. But these are a little heavier duty. Good stuff, though. I mean, it's 3M. It's good material. It's good quality decals. I have a guy here that does these for me locally, and I don't have it right here. The No Name Nationals checkbook has one on the front of it to make sure I get the right checkbook if I need to write a check for something for the event. And so I was looking at that when I was in there because I was getting something else done related to that. I don't know what it was. Like every year we're replacing banners and stuff like that and vinyl. And I got to look at the book. I said, why don't you just do a roll of these? I bet people would want them. These are Schultz sign. And these are just something that Ben and Cindy took upon themselves to do. And they're great. It's really good stuff. 12-year vinyl. It's good stuff. It's the same vinyl that you get when you get stuff from Bad Tree Productions. And their stuff lasts too. So, but anyway, these are a little bit more expensive. So I put these on the website, $5 a pair, shipping wherever, $3 a pair, shipping wherever. These are 8, these are 6. But yeah, something new. And, a pair of them makes a whole 62 cents to go in and pay for whatever. Rob's Rods and Streetcars is here. Punisher Lamont says, I guess I need to register for No Name Nationals 2024. It is open. Mexican Spec says, we'll see if they last 12 years in the Mexico sun if they ever arrive. Good. That'll be a good test. That'll be a good test. You know what? Actually, whenever they make it through customs and everything, and the drug dogs check them out and all that stuff, and they actually begin to go into service, I want you to keep me posted on them. And we'll keep posted and see how they do. That's a good test. I like that. I like that. And we can also test them like I'll send some to mongrels or one of our Canadians, and we'll see how they do. You know, up there, that might be a fun test. Yeah, Bar's Nest gets his apparel through Schultz. They do good work. Their stuff is good. In fact, I just ordered 10 shirts from them. So uh, two of you guys have shirt orders. We're waiting on mediums right now. So two of those will go out and they are on the way actually. So they've already been sent out. Yeah, Bigfoots and Mopars. Minnesota guys listen to people talking about cold. It's all relative. What's funny is that, Bigfoots and Mopars, he's sitting there, in his rocking chair with 2 feet of snow. Oh, speaking of that, I got to show you this. So they're sitting there in 2 feet of snow. Meanwhile, the NSB Customs guys are saying, "Oh man, it's so cold. It's 52 degrees." So it's relative. Speaking of snow, Blake sent me this today. You don't usually see the Nacho Coodle like that. Look at that. I don't know how much they got there, but Blake said he was working on the dock, clearing snow off of the dock at Hippie's Marina there. Yeah, see, when I think about, boats and docks and stuff like that, I forget about the floating docks. If you're where you get a lot of snow like that, you got to clean those off too. Stuff I don't even think about, but got to be hardy to live in that climate. And those guys are. Punisher Lawn says, "I will be there." Well, Punisher Ray, we had the breakage gremlin go around to visit our heads up cars last season. Man, it was an epidemic. But there's going to be a lot of fast stuff there. I mean, there's more stuff that's in the wings, so we'll see. Should have a good crowd for 2018 M5. BNR stayed home today. Chicago had thousands of accidents. Oh, I bet. It's always a mess like that. It's always a mess when you got the snow like that. And I'm never afraid of the snow. I'm afraid of people hitting me because of the snow. Twisted Mopar says, "I bet I've removed 10 pounds of aluminum from the push rod tubes of these heads and still got more to remove." Whoa. Why? Why? Why would you have to remove that much? No garage for the Nacho yet. Yeah, man. Whatever happened to that garage? J-Bo just wanted to build a garage. Yeah, and NSB has to rub it in that it's 75 degrees there. Lee's like, "You're welcome." First storm and everyone forgets how to drive. Actually, first storm I didn't know how to drive to start with, but the snow showed that up. See, people who are terrible drivers anyway, when they lose traction, it shows it up. People who don't allow following distance, they get away with it when it's dry. And then as soon as their traction's compromised, they start slamming into people. It's like, you never allowed any following distance anyway. You just got away with it when you have more traction. Though he said around here, people don't have a clue how to drive in the snow. Around here, it's not too bad, except we got the universities. I'm bookended by 2 big universities here. You have people from everywhere, and it can get interesting. Although, that said, most of the ones that just shouldn't be driving whatsoever, they're mopeds or transit system or something, and are staying in. I will say it's nothing like what it used to be. There's mostly old parts. Supposed to drop to -17 tomorrow with 20 to 25 mile an hour winds. I'll take places I do not want to live for 200, Alex. It's not like it used to be because people don't go out in the bad and inclement weather like what they used to. People used to, like, for instance, now we have, everybody has internet and a lot of people working from home and stuff like that. E-commerce has really cut down the need on people being out and about and getting places like what they used to. Grocery delivery and all that kind of stuff. And Uber Eats and all that has really changed how much people are out and about when the weather is bad. Ron Ward, thanks for stopping by, man. Appreciate you being here. So Punisher Le Mans, have you got your one wheel peel situation fixed? Weren't you going to a spool in that mean machine? Yes, Rabbit Transit Garage. That's a good point. He says Tony's Hot Rod Garage builds an awesome merch site for YouTubers. Yes, he does. Tony did the embroidered shirts for the No Name Nationals. I have a prototype hat, and the final draft of that's going to be happening. We're going to have hats available for you guys. Tony also, I commissioned some shirts for John Cope as a gift, some one-offs of the Casper-Matic, and Cope really liked that and did a run that he sells. But the first prototypes Tony and I kind of did and commissioned, and I did one of the light plant, which he has. So, but Tony does really good work. So if you need shirts done, if you need hats done, if you need stickers like your graphic and whatnot, he's a good guy to reach out to. Busted Radio saying, I want the Le Mans versus Linda this year at No Name Nationals. Chris, you're biting off a big old chunk there, so that's going to be cool. Right on. Chris doesn't mess around. He's not picking a match with a 9-second eighth of a mile car there. So that's gonna be a good one. Most of the old parts says he contemplated chili but didn't have any ground beef. All right, so Amazon drivers, if you're making a delivery to the Ward house, watch your six. He has a meat grinder, knows how long it'll be before you're missing. Yeah, Thumper says which Le Mans there will be two. And they're both going to be treacherous. Cope has his light plant shirt on today. Well, cool. All of those little fun things are just things you'll always remember. I am working slowly on my garage, little by little. I want to move my Dart Sport into the right bay. I got some work I want to do there, and eventually, I want to have room for a Coates rim clamp tire changer. Eventually. JB's little shop. How you doing, man? JB, you making any progress on getting your shop liquidated? Busted Radio's running Linda all weekend. I'm sure we'll get her around. Yeah. Well, are you bringing Homer for burnout and Linda for drag? I think that was the deal. Ryan Barsness can't wait to make passes at No Name Nationals 2024. We want to see it. You should do it. Dart Sport for 2024 in. I hope Smoke Wrench will bring his Dart Sport for 2024 in. If anybody watched how much I do that weekend and how busy I am, there is no way on earth that I could bring a race car. Charger 383 Mopar says, I haven't announced it yet, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to retire the Charger from the burnout competition. It was really fun, but I don't really want to put that stress on my Charger anymore. Understandable. That said, you should, if you need to beef up the frame rails, I'd do it. Whether you ever plan on doing burnout competition or not. Chris is bringing both. Right on, man. You bringing 2 trucks, 2 trailers? Or you going to get you a double trailer? A friend of mine had he had a 2-car ramp trailer, and he had his '69 Dart that he had raced since 1972. He bought it off a used car lot when it was 3 years old. And to my knowledge, he's got to be, Ronnie's, man, if he's got to be pushing 80. But he has a '69 Dart 340 car that was just like a 50,000 mile, or not even that then. But I think the car doesn't have 50,000 miles on it now. And it's been sitting inside all of these years, and it goes to track, and the chrome looks great, the paint looks great. And then his wife had a '72 Demon 340 car. And anyway, he'd bring them both on that ramp. I thought that was pretty cool. Most of the old parts is race car, not a good. I agree, Ron. There's no way. There's no way. Bring a monkey bike. I'm sure the dog would love that. Yes. Mopar Den, how's it going, sir? Dizzy Izzy, thanks for swinging by. Big Mike of the Hoopty Barn. Talk to Mike this week. Mike's a good dude. Mike's got some really fun stuff going on. We were talking a little bit about his build and his plans, and wow. Neat stuff. Looking forward to the content on that. I'll say this. I don't know how many people would be on this list, but so far, Mike has attended first 2 years, then will be third, and has done 2 builds and working on another car for the third. So I'm curious, we get to year 3, how many people will have built 3 different cars for the first 3 events? That's pretty cool. I will say that everybody has brought either a different or maybe a better version of the same car each year, which is cool. But that's because this is the crowd right here that gets stuff done. Oh, cool. Most of the old parts is a question for Cope. There's still any use for a 5.0 apply lever for a 727, or are they pretty much an outdated modification? I think I know what Cope would say about that, but Cope was here. So, Ron, if Cope is here, we'll let him advise. If he's not, I'll tell you what I think I have gathered from him. BNR says 120 hours is a long week indeed. That's only 48 off to sleep and everything else. Unfinished project says rug. Okay. Unfinished project. Were you in here when we were giving away stickers? Oh, okay. How is that possible? We give away stuff to 19 people before Unfinished Project gets here, and he missed out. Oh my gosh. Of all people to miss out. UP has enough. Yeah, you know what? Unfinished Project is he's like the world champion of giveaway. But he's also a buddy of mine. I want him to have some. I mean, you guys are awesome. So um, let's just do more. Colleen, pick 10 more people who aren't already on your list. 10 people who aren't already on your list. Let's give away some more. You don't need to put nothing in the chat. Colleen's just going to do it. It's so cool that we have all these different, specialties, from people in the community. It's a lot of fun. Like Unfinished Project is just, man, if you need links and stuff like that, he's always real sharp and on it. Colleen is like she's the secretary. So anytime we're doing giveaways or keeping track of stuff, that's Colleen. She jumps in, does that. Real good for that. And then, of course, we have tech questions. We got all kinds of specialists in the community for that. Most of the old parts. I don't know if Cope is still in here. I don't know if he just stuck his head in and split, but I will say, I think the 4-2 is preferred over the 5-to-1 lever for the reason to keep the band overlap from happening on your 2-3 shift. But the 5-to-1 lever would probably be better suited in a 904. So that's probably what you would hear from him. That said, there are a lot of purists with Hemi and I think 446 pack cars that had that lever, and they would very much insist upon having that because that's the ratio they had and all that. But I would go with a 4-2 because that's like part of the package with the pressures that you run in modern valve bodies and the modern bands, etc. So anyway, that's my amateurish guess. However, that said, if you want, I'm happy to pop that question up to Cope for you. See, yeah, he says the band overlap was horrible, my 71 Demon. That's exactly why people don't run them. And it's a factory part. But the thing is you got to remember, what kind of valve body were they running? B&R says backing up a full spool is the way to go for No Name National's 8th mile. Number 2 will be a Power Tracks. Number 3, shim to GM positive traction, but the shims are rare now. Yes, full spool. I got to tell you, most of us are the kind of people that we don't care enough about the driving manners of a car, to want to have something that releases clean and smooth. So throw a spool in it and let it eat. Unless you're running like a 26-inch hard tire and you're always in the drive-through, or the bank lane, or something like that. Probably get away with having a spool. How about the old Lincoln locker? Yeah, you can do that. There's a channel on here we probably should just call Lincoln lockers. But yeah. But spools are relatively inexpensive for everything now. I mean, I remember when Ron, what were the spool options for Mopar 30 years ago? I mean, there wasn't cheap spool options like there were for Fords and Chevrolets. I mean, if you had a 9-inch or 12 bolt, you could get a mini spool, a full spool, lightweight, whatever. Mopar didn't have all that. You do now. Danny Boyd says Hobart. There you go. Jabo says, kind of looking for a Jeep Liberty 8 1/4. They came with a 410 with limited slip. Jabo, I didn't know that. I only recently heard that they came with an 8 1/4. And also, I think the Dodge Nitro or Caliber or something, one of those little frou-frou SUVs also had an 8 1/4. I think all the way up to 2007. But I didn't know the Liberty had that. That's really interesting. That is really interesting. That's cool. Hey, Mike Iben is here. The torque converter whisperer himself, Mike Iben. Glad you're here, man. Caliber's front wheel drive. Yeah, I couldn't remember what it was. I knew it was one of those goofy little modern SUVs that Chrysler had, something that ran an 8 1/4 all the way up to 2007. I don't remember which one it was because I'll just tell you, once we got to the modern era of the Chrysler products. They don't have any DNA connection back to those old cars, and I just have no interest. It's a whole different family tree, pretty much. You can find lots of Liberties and pull aparts. Liberties were candidates for the pull apart when they were made. Oh man, I knew someone that had a Liberty that went through one engine, two transmissions, and just I think if it weren't for probably being upside down in the pavement, you'd have dumped the thing a lot sooner. Aren't all modern Chrysler SUV goofy or whatever? Yeah, I don't care about any of that. It's just unfinished project said a lady in my town has a diesel Liberty. Is it running? Is it run and drive? Just a minute. Give me just a second here. We have a guest messaging here. Where is the diesel engine from? That's a good question. Because I bet it's not a Chrysler diesel. Bigfoots and Mopars will call Ivan about the new combo. I always think it's cool when we have people in this community and we see everybody else getting to do cool stuff with them. Like a lot of guys run the Mike Ivan torque converter. A lot of people run John Coke valve bodies. A lot of people are running Tony's Hot Rod Garage shirts and merch and stickers and whatnot. BNR says Full Spool comes out after No Name Nationals. My plan back to limited slip for street. Okay. BNR, when are you going to bring your Pontiac? Glad you bring the truck, but bring the Pontiac. Auto Salvages, I got to make another logo. Barrow says, I remember the Liberty had the head gasket problems. Yes, they did. Yes, they did. I forgot about that. That was a big deal with those. They would just eat head gaskets for lunch. They were terrible for that. Rabbit Transit says, Tony's Hot Rod Garage. Tony set him up with a merch site. Pretty cool. Oh, indeed. So if you guys want to look and you mods, just drop this in the chat. You can go if you want to see his site itself. Okay, so first of all, if you want to sample sites, you can go to unitymotorsportsgarage.com. I think that redirects there because Gunslinger Graphics is Tony's company, and you can go there and you can see what he does. But the quality is outstanding. If I knew what I'd be talking about, I would opt just to wear something from him today. But the quality is really good. And customer service is really good. He treats you right on the prices. So if you want shirts and stuff for your channel, he's a good one. Now, I got to say, Schultz Sign has done the No Name National shirts, both years, and they look great. Schultz does a great shirt, too. You really can't go wrong with either one of them. But Tony did the embroidered shirts. They do in-house embroidery. So he did those and the hats. However, Schultz does these in-house. Cuts the vinyl. So it depends what you want done, but there's two companies that do good work and I can recommend. There we go, shop.rabbittransitgarage.com. There you go. So you can go check it out. You can go check out Jay's stuff. Most of the old parts says the 3.7 was even worse than the 4.7. It was close, but you were right. They were both bad ideas. Didn't they have a 2.7 that was hot steaming garbage too? All right, we got a guest, and let's see how long this takes. Let's see how long this takes. Somebody, we have Dented Dreams Garage in the house. How you doing, sir?
Good. How are you guys doing?
All right,
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you fine. So Michael was he's in the lead of the No Name 500 right now, and you had what 488,
492.
492 right now. So anyway, uh, one of the mods, if you would, please put up the link for Dented Dreams Garage. He's running first in the No Name 500, and he is 8 subscribers away from his 500. So if you're not familiar with him, check it out. He's got some cool stuff on his channel. Um, I'm digging the rusted trucks. I think that's pretty neat, but I'm liking it. So, what inspired you to jump in the mix for this thing?
Um, well, starting this channel to begin with, my kid wanted me to do it. He's 11, and it just kind of started off messing around a little bit with the Monte Carlo I had in high school, and then he's got a '72 pickup that we kind of named the Smoking Banana. Uh, there's a story behind that. Um, and then another channel, Useful Entertainment, had actually reached out, and we've been talking the last few months and mentioned the No Name Nationals.
Yeah.
And the more I looked into it, the more excited I got. So here we are.
Those guys are fun.
Yeah.
They came down from Pennsylvania. They couldn't make it happen for the second annual, but they want to come down for the third. They're a fun group. Glad to have them there, and yeah, we got a lot of folks that are throwing in to get here this year. So we're glad you're here. Glad you registered. You had a short climb to 500 from where you already were. You already had over 400 subs. Unfinished projects that I was 500. How long did that take? 501. He's over 5. Yeah. It usually doesn't take long because people want to help the No Name 500 guys make it.
Oh, we definitely appreciate it. This has been
a
fun journey so far.
Glad to have you. And you'd get 500 anyway, for sure. But yeah, 407 Dean he was already. But the thing is it's a fun way to celebrate your 500 with everybody together, and you got more people get invested in your builds, and I like it. I was cruising your channel earlier today. It's pretty neat.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah, we're looking forward to having you there. So are you wanting to get into racing? You wanting to get into burnout competition, or?
I'm hoping we can race. We've got a long way to go. The truck that we're planning on bringing is down to the frame right now, so I just got started wire wheeling that, and I'm probably gonna have to blast some pieces. I ordered the new brake lines, fuel lines, all that stuff, suspension, brakes, and I think we'll have everything to put the motor and transmission in here in another month. So that's obviously that's got a long way to go, but I think we're gonna get there.
Yeah, I can tell from your channel that you do stuff. You get stuff done, so I wouldn't be at all surprised if you get it. There's Useful Entertainment. Glad you swing by. Function of history say he'll be at the third. And now that he made it, what's Dented bringing? That's a good point. So let's back up to tell people more about what you're working on there.
Working on a 1980 Chevy Love that we named Shetland because it's little. And I never really liked these trucks. But then I drove one, and I kind of fell in love with them. So I've collected a few parts trucks now. We've got a 5.3 liter LM7 LS motor that we're planning on putting in it. And we're still debating on the transmission. We're also planning on swapping in an S10 rear end. And we're basically doing a frame off on this thing. When we do the body and bring it over, though, it'll probably still be dented. So, it still fits in with the channel. But
Love it. I like the mini trucks and the evolution of those things. Like Ford, Chevy, Dodge, all had a foreign built mini truck.
Yeah,
Uh, Seems like they all had that first before they had their own.
yeah. Um, in the future, this year's probably going to be Shetland, the little love. Hopefully, some of the other projects we've got a 68 Ventura, 72 GMC pickup, 70 Monte Carlo. That would be the one that ideally I would be bringing, but it's got a long way to go. So,
Now you're in Nebraska.
yep.
Okay, cool, cool. I'd imagine it's pretty cold and plenty of snow there.
That's 2 degrees, I think, right now, and we got 4 foot snow drifts outside. So
Ooh, yikes!
tomorrow, I think the high is -7, and the low's like -20 or something. So yeah, I need to relocate to a warmer climate.
Well, two years in a row, 38 POS Racing has hoofed it down to Sykeston. Uh, Actually, yeah, 2 years in a row. He's come down in his '59 Chevy.
I actually, I just saw that Chevy. I just met him
Oh, cool.
maybe 3 weekends ago. I was buying a parts love off of him.
There you go. I bought a transmission from him. He brought my transmission down. Big overdrive 4-speed Dodge church van transmission in the trunk of that car all the way down. So he's a warrior, man. He'll be loaded down with parts to fund his trip again, I would bet.
Probably fit a lot of parts in the back of that car.
He did. He had a lot in there. He brought down a hitch and a transmission and power steering pump and some things for me. So that was pretty cool. I think I had 4 different people delivering parts to me in Sykeston.
Huh.
I had accumulated throughout the
Well, that beats shipping costs.
year, and then they came down. And this community is good like that, though. I had some gear sets from just Mopar Joe. I saw him in here earlier, and I had a tunnel ram from Two Hacks Jeff, and I had that transmission and a few other just odds and ends. It was interesting.
Huh.
There's 318 wheel run. Glad to have him back. He and his wife come down and hang out with us. And you gonna be a threat in the bracket this year again, Tim? So how long have you had your channel now?
Me?
Yes, sir.
Oh, we are going on 5 months.
5 months. Okay, because I thought you were pretty relatively new. So 5 months. It's been quite a ride. You're already at your 500.
Yep. Kind of surprising, honestly. I didn't think anyone was going to watch anything we did. This was my son wanted me to do it, so I kind of humored him, and he was like, "Well, you're already doing this stuff anyway. You might as well video it." I'm like, okay.
Well, you're doing good stuff over there. So I mean, I looked at it and you jumped off to a good start. You're doing good with it. So it's not any surprise to me that you're coming up quick.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Well, like Blue Collar Performance in the chat here, he had 400 and some last year. He has, what do you have now, Nate? About 8,000, 85, something like that. Barrows had 42 subscribers in January of the first No Name Nationals, and he's sitting at nearly 4,000. Two Hacks Jeff, I was his first subscriber in January of 22. I was Jeff's first sub, and he has about 7,500. So,
500 for me has been, or the journey to 500 was definitely something I couldn't imagine. Even now, I can't even imagine having 3, 4, 5,000. That'd be crazy.
yeah, you never know where it'll go.
Definitely, congratulations to those guys.
Engine Light Garage, glad to see you sneak in here. Almost 8,500. He's going to announce a giveaway at 8,500. Well, that's cool.
Wow, that is cool.
That's cool. Yeah, we've seen a lot of channels grow in this community, and it's really cool. A lot of No Name 500 guys just flourishing. So
Well, it's a really cool event for like commemorizing that with the small channels that are just coming up. So
Absolutely. And the
something
nice,
exciting to be part of.
well, one nice thing is that, we have the climb to 500, and it gets people to show, who they are, what they're working on. The community gets behind you, gets involved in your builds, right? Gets invested. And then people always want to go there to see one another when they get to the event.
Yeah,
So it's not just about racing your stuff and seeing if you can win. You want to go as much to see everybody else.
yeah,
And it makes for a good event, makes for a great crowd, a lot of camaraderie, and we've never had a fight or a raised voice or anything in No Name Nationals.
no, just seeing the commentary during the live streams, it seems like a really good group.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's a close group and it's wonderful. And I mean, but you look in the chat. So Dizzy Izzy, Blue Collar Performance, Barrow's Garage, all of those are no name. Ryan, no, Ryan got his, I think, just before. I don't think he was a no name 500 guy because of that. He got his just before. Big Hoopty Mike was a no name 500 guy. Dakota's Timeout was a no name 500 guy. So it's pretty amazing. We're eventually going to have no name 500 contenders one day with 50,000 subs who can say they got their first 500 um, in the no name 500. So it's cool and fun. It's different.
Absolutely.
Scrap Iron Racing, who's on my screen right there, he's no name 500 guy. He brought out a beautiful salt flats racing car, flathead. Really cool, out of Louisiana. I sure hope he comes back. Yeah, Mopar's Mustangs minivans. He gave away a transmission at No Name Nationals.
It's pretty neat that there's people from all over the country coming to this. It's fairly centrally located, so that's pretty cool.
Oh, I love it. We had a few provinces in Canada represented, all over the country. Yeah, Joe sacrificed a transmission there.
Huh.
Yes, he did. But Ryan, I don't think you were. I don't believe you were registered before. I think you registered after you got your 500. I believe, because if there's any doubt, go to my homepage. It'll be in the alumni section. I got them ordered right there. But that's okay. I mean, whatever. No one. All that really matters is that you come and you're a good community member, and we all have fun and fellowship together, and that's what matters.
Absolutely.
Bigfoots and Mopar says, love that blown flathead roadster. That's a beautiful car. I've never been to Nebraska. 318 says that he's been across it quite a bit and he likes it. I've never been. So if I want to go to Nebraska for the first time ever, where would you recommend I go?
For vacation
I've just
or
never been.
well, I would say Lincoln. We've got Speedway Motors, and I'd say go to the Speedway Museum that Speedy set up.
Huh.
And you'll probably you'll see more flatheads than you've ever seen in your entire life. And then
Really?
I don't care who you are. Some of the stuff they did on these motors, it'll make you actually have to look at it and try to figure out what in the hell they were doing.
Wow.
Back in the old school racing days. So that's a 4-story museum, and I want to say they call it the Museum of Speed, but they've got all their race cars. They've got one floor that's just race cars, and what's cool is they've actually got the pictures of the car when it was, at whatever race it was at with the driver, and then that car is actually there. They got another floor that is just flathead engines. There must be 500 of them in there, and every one of them is a little bit unique in its own way, or a style of supercharger that you've never seen before. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, that sounds pretty neat. It sounds like they have it organized kind of like the NASCAR museum in Charlotte, where it's vertically organized in floors.
Yeah, it was. I've lived here for years, and I had never, just because the hours were kind of weird, it didn't jive with work. I had never actually gotten to go to the museum, and then finally, I just texted my dad here recently, and I was like, "Hey, do you want to go to a museum with me?" And he's like, "Yeah, which one?" Museum of Speed, you know. And we went down there. It took a couple hours to get through everything, and it was definitely interesting. So from a gearhead's perspective, I would say that's
Okay.
great reason to visit Nebraska.
That reference carries more weight than the tourist of general interest who's just there to be there. Somebody
Yeah.
who will go there with purpose like that. Speaking of Flathead, Turbo Tom says I have the oldest car that went down the track. And I don't know if you saw, Turbo Tom has a 1916 Model T Ford,
Wow.
and he made a pass down the track at Sykeston. What'd you run, Tom? It was a 17 something. So yeah, we've had a 1916 Model T Ford go down the track.
That's impressive.
Dakota's saying Wizard of Oz film locations. Okay.
Was it really?
I don't know. I don't know.
Huh. Oldest car I've ever seen was an 1897 Maxwell.
Yeah, Turbo Tom's T went. It went 17.5 at 38 miles an hour. Yeah, Dakota's asking for it. What do you mods at the Blue Ranch? Dakota, he's missed his regular timeouts that are his namesake. And Unfinished Project brings up a great point. A 1916 Model T is technically Mopar powered. John Dodge Engineering, I would imagine. Yes, Dakota, you miss your regular. You notice Dakota's name here. So I don't know how many of the characters in this community you've gotten an opportunity to meet, but Dakota's channel names, that's his alternate account. Dakota's Timeout is his regular channel. And he got that name from me timing him out. So it became part of his shtick. Ron Ward says he's straight south of you in Topeka.
Oh yeah, that's a couple hours. They got a nice drag strip there.
Indeed they do. And you'll recognize the guy on the PA.
I heard that drag strip was closing though, but I don't know if it's just a rumor or not.
Well, Ron can address that. I know that I read in Dragzine, I read that 3 different 8th mile tracks were closing here. I thought that was interesting. Yeah, Ron says we don't have a drag strip anymore.
Damn. When I was, I want to say I was either 14 or 15, I actually saw John Force race there.
Cool.
I think his daughter was still doing the TV show at the time, but that was pretty neat.
By the way, and if you haven't had a chance yet to meet Ron Ward, he's our announcer and world-class announcer. He's the voice of the No Name Nationals. He'll be in the tower, but he's announced a lot of places. And sometimes people will come to Sykeston and say, that's a familiar voice, and that's why.
Oh.
Dakota thought that Missouri kind of looked like the Wizard of Oz. I don't know. I hadn't been to Missouri. The first time I ever went to Missouri in my life was with Dallas to do recon for the No Name Nationals. So I hadn't been to Missouri yet.
Kansas is definitely I'd be surprised if they didn't film it in Kansas.
Ron's been on the mic at 52 different tracks so far.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's quite experienced. Ron does a killer job. Yes, he does.
Impressive.
Yep. An integral part of our event. We call him the voice of the No Name Nationals. But I have to figure out what car number we'll issue you, because we issue car numbers, but we're getting to where the numbers are, I don't know, we're in the 120s, 100 somethings of car numbers. And then there's gaps in between and so forth. So I think we're going to line up cars this year starting, I think, don't hold me to this, but I think we're going to start lining up for a group photo at 40 to 60, I think we'll start. Because we've been alternating them. We called group 1 through 20, 20 through 40, 40 through 60. We did it that way. each of the subsequent years, because I'm trying to rotate people through to the front.
Yeah. Imagine how difficult it's going to be in a few more years if it keeps growing at this rate.
Well, we've got a 1,300-foot shutdown there, so what'll happen though if it gets any further out than it already is? Because right now we're already to the time clocks, so if it gets any farther, I'll probably wind up doing a perspective video of it too. But the group photo is just a fun. It's just a fun thing. One-eyed cat, if you're just patient with me, 40 through 60 will be the group. But you know what that means? That means that next year you'll be right up front. Busted Radial, you'll be close. You'll be in group 2. I think your number's 68. Blue Collar Performances, I used to announce at Ozark Raceway Park, but I got fired for cleaning a guy's clock on the clock. Yeah, Chris. We're rotating them out by groups of 20. That's how we pull them up there. That way we try to rotate people to the front.
Just the largest.
Yeah, you'll be right up front next year.
Is this the largest so far that it's been?
Well, it's the third hadn't happened yet, but the second one was a little bigger than the first. The third one, I mean, we're on plenty good course for this one to be bigger than the second. You don't know till you know, but I know that our early numbers are really good. Let's see, we had the first year we had registrations trickle in. They came in pretty good, pretty steady, like a few a week, right? Yeah. The second year we had a huge number register the first hour. I think we had 21 try to register pretty much at the same time to be first. And this year we had 29 the first day, and about 20, I want to say 26 of those were in the first hour. So that doesn't necessarily mean anything as a bellwether, but the enthusiasm's high. People keep coming back. They love the event, keep coming back. And I've seen a very, very mild increase in multi-car registrations. So the numbers look good. It looks like we're going to have a good crowd this year too.
Yeah, I think my dad's going to come down with me in his truck. He just got done doing he's in the process, but he's getting pretty close to finishing up a frame off LS swap on a 71 C10. So
that's cool.
He said he'd make the drive with me.
Yeah, do it. It's a family friendly event, so yeah, great for the family. First year was 120-ish entries. Ron, I'm not exactly sure because not every car had a car number because not all of them went through tech. Some of them that weren't racing didn't go through tech, but I know that it was a tad bigger the second year because I got to a higher issue number. Andy's asking who's ready to race. So Turbo Tom's got an interesting story about the group photo here. He said he's already been up front in the photo. Well, what happened with him is he got his 500 subs at the event. Like he got them Friday morning, literally right before we pulled the cars on the track. Like during the cars coming to the track, he got his 500 subs because he was real close, and people didn't want him to get left out. They got him. So
that's cool.
I check it. He's got it. He comes up. The track is already pretty well lined, and I'm like, I've got to looking at this because Square Body Stuff Chad, he got burned on the group photo the year before because somebody parked this big vehicle right in front of him. And it wasn't fair to him. Now, he didn't complain. He's a cool guy. But I said, you know what, we're going to write that for the next year. So the second year, I got him down right to the front of the photo. He's right in the front of the photo. And because he came down first by himself, he was at a slightly different angle. So it created a little bit of extra room in there. And I said, you know what, that's a narrow spot, but I bet a Model T would fit right in there. So I got on the phone and I told Thomas, I said, hey, come down from the water box end. And he's like, where? I said, trust me, there's a spot there. If you got the skill to back it in there, you can get in there. He's like, I don't see a spot. I'm like, trust me, there's a spot. He did. He went in there and said, oh, yeah. It was narrow, but he slid right in there. You can see it in the group photo.
And of all vehicles to have to squeeze into a tight spot.
Yeah. The photo is on the registration page, but let me put it up here. Actually, let me just have an easier way to get to it. For reference, I should put it up. Just occurred to me. There's our group photo. And if you get there, we do this at about 9 o'clock in the morning on Friday. And Tom got in that little space right there that didn't even look like it. You can see the Model T there. You can see 38s, 59 Chevy, and 2 Hacks Jeffs, T-Bird. And there's the Bad Tree guys. There's some of our quicker stuff over there. We got the Dallas's T-Bird.
Nice.
Brad's Roadrunner. So it's a fun group. It's worth coming down to get the group photo.
Yeah, definitely.
So first year we had a lot of call outs, people calling out others to race. Have you looked around and see if there's anything you think you want to call out, anything you might want to race for fun?
Not yet. I'm still I'm still kind of getting used to everything, so I gotta make sure I get this truck ready to go first.
Right.
I don't want to call somebody out who's going to be 3 seconds faster.
We've seen it before. Yeah, Ron Ward went up in a JLG lift bucket to get that photo. And Barkley took him way up there. I don't know how high you were up, Ron, but you were up higher, I'm sure, than the one Dallas did the year before. That thing moves around a lot, doesn't it? Yeah, Andy's saying get your registration for the No Name Nationals. I got the link on the screen, nonamenationals.com. He put up the site direct link right here. Andy Wood is registered. He was, I think Andy was one of the very first registered this year. His truck was stuck in header purgatory. I believe you were in header purgatory the first year, weren't you, Andy? And just couldn't make it. Couldn't make the show for that. Chris 103 Customs. You coming in from New York this year, sir? We got people from everywhere. And then we got people that's practically a home game like Dizzy Izzy. He lives, pretty close to the track.
Lucky.
Uh-oh. You're already getting some action. So, that's actually not a bad idea. Dented Dreams, if you look at the Heavens Mopars channel, you'll see that both of you guys can have a race before the race to see if you can get your vehicle together. Scott has a quite an uphill project.
It's not a bad challenge.
Yeah, really it is. Check out Heavens Mopars channel there. He is building a Charger that some people would say is a parts car and cannot be saved. And we're saying it will be a car again.
They've said that about a few that I've seen on some various channels, and it's pretty cool what they come up with. So, yeah, it's never gone till it's gone.
We got some folks here like Beach Street Mopar. He was there last year. A lot of people make it. They come as a spectator, and then the next year they make it as a participant. And I think Ken there's going to do it. He's got a diplomat he's working on. I think this is his year. Now, do you have much drag racing experience, or just?
Nope, not at all.
No, the majority of this crowd that came to the first No Name Nationals had never been on a track before.
Yep,
And
that'll
it
be
went
me.
amazingly well considered that.
Yeah, I've watched a few videos just on how the Christmas tree operates. So
Okay, yeah.
be a little different than stoplight to stoplight.
Oh, it's very different. It's very different. We got all kinds of stuff. So I don't know how many channels of these guys you're familiar with, but it really enriches the experience to get to meet as many of these guys as you can, and then get to meet them in person. Um, I mean,
Yeah.
Andy's truck runs mid high sixes in the eighth, 4,000 pound F100 with a Hemi headed Ford small block. Um, Big Mike has brought a different car every year. Um, this year is going to be a Charger. Ryan says he's bringing a B body of some kind. Dizzy is he's bringing a Dodge Avenger. There is a fair amount of Mopar turnout for this because a lot of my friends are Mopar people. But Buck has got a Buck Skylark, for example. He's working on a Barracuda.
And I'm bringing a Chevy Love.
There's a little of everything here.
Pretty neat. You don't get to see very many old Mopars anymore.
You'll see a lot of them there. Mopar's definitely the most represented make.
Dad and I have a 1973 Dodge Dart Sport in the barn that one of these days we need to pull out and get running again.
You have a 73 Dart Sport?
Yeah.
It's
like
interesting. It's interesting you'd say that. Shoot, I don't think I have it handy. No, I don't. I took it off my phone. I have a 73 Dart Sport. It's on my channel art.
No. I'll have to check that out. Yeah, this one, the body and underneath and everything is like almost perfect. It's got one little dent, which could be fixed easily, and it's got one little splash of rust in the rear quarter at the very bottom, right by the bumper. All original everything, but the lifters had lost their oil, and I think it caused the push rods to come out of there a little bit. So anyway, when we actually tried to turn it over and everything, which mice had ate the wiring that bent the push rods, and it needs some work.
What engine is that in it?
Slant six.
Slant six. Okay, kind of thought so when you said that collapsed lifter like that. But I love the Dart Sport. I have a 73, and Smoke Wrench has a 73 or 74.
Hi. Probably not the time, Bella.
Who's your buddy?
This is Bella Renee Reginald Hampton. She has a big name. Okay, you're done. Are you jealous because I'm talking, but I'm not talking to you?
She coming to No Name Nationals?
No, she'll be staying here with one of my buddies. She'd weigh down the truck too much, huh?
There's a few dogs that come to No Name Nationals.
Say what?
There's a few dogs that come to No Name Nationals.
She might make the journey. We'll have to see.
Ron Ward says, "Let me know if you want a big block for the Dart Sport. I got a couple laying around."
You know we thought about doing something like that at first, but trying to get those K members is such a nightmare these days. So looked like it was going to get either had to know somebody or it was going to get very expensive.
You can do conversion mounts. You don't have to change the K member.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. All day long.
This is the only Mopar I've ever had, so.
Huh. Yeah, you don't need to change K member. You can do that with conversion mounts.
Okay, well now the start might end up on the channel here fairly soon then.
Yeah. Hey, if you need any help with things like that, there's somebody in this community that knows whatever it is you need to know. Like we got people who paint, people who do transmissions, people do engines, people do wiring, people do everything. So somebody in here it does whatever that you're needing for a living, whether it's finding parts or you need to know some weird, rare, abstract thing. There's somebody who knows it. It's a great community like that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Jesse Unfinished Project says I have a set of conversion mounts.
See, I would have had no idea. Dad and I, this is the only Mopar we ever messed with, and we got it because we liked those body styles. And this one was remarkably solid metal wise. But I thought you had to swap the K members, so that's what
No,
we were looking at. So that just kind of shut down our steam.
now you will have to switch the transmission because the bell housing is different. Unlike a Chevrolet that used one bell housing for everything, but yeah, and the 73 Dart has the fail safe. It has the spool type mounts that you put the bolt through.
Yeah.
Indeed, it does. But yeah, you could use that K frame all day. Bigfoots and Mopars knows a couple of guys who put big blocks in A bodies, and Nate is exactly right.
I always thought it'd be interesting. You know, Australia had its own muscle car movement and everything, and down there they had the Hemi 6, I think is what they called it.
Indeed.
Hemi head on a slant 6, and I always wanted to get something like that, just because who's seen one, you know?
If you had one of those things that would draw a crowd here, I've seen one in person in the States ever, and it was a guy who brought it over. It was in a Valiant, and it's got a cross flow head, I think. I can't remember if it does or not. It may or may not, but it's an interesting little piece.
Stop wagging. You're gonna knock the camera over. So you've actually seen one.
I have seen it. I saw it in an Australian Valiant, a right-hand drive Australian Valiant at Carlisle.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yep, the real deal. Only one I've ever seen though.
Yeah.
You can get them. It's just shipping it here is the thing.
Yeah, and there's probably like 1,600 rules and regulations that it has to follow in order to actually come into the States.
Well, you know how I say we know people who know all this stuff. Dean lives in New Zealand. We've got a few folks in New Zealand and Australia who come through the comments occasionally, so they can probably help you find stuff. If you needed something small, if you want to pay shipping, they can find it. It's just getting it here.
Yeah, that's interesting. Oh, we're gonna max out another credit card.
Useful entertainment is still hanging around. Well, glad you're here, man. Yeah, see, Mean Street Mopar, he wants to put a big block in his duster.
That would have to be, for the power to weight ratio, that would have to be a rocket sled if you could get traction.
I think and Ron Ward, this is a Ron Ward thing, if ever anything was. I want to say that the Hemi darts were rated at being, was it 9 pounds per horsepower, Ron? Is that right? I think that was what they were rated. They probably were a little better than that, but he says Mike Jeffrey from Nebraska's got one of the baddest slant 6s on the planet. That's a small group and they all know each other.
Interesting.
It is a little more involved in doing a Chevrolet type swap. B&R says a 454 fits exactly where a 350 was. That's right. Mopar is a little bit more involved. You got to have the big block bell housing, but it's not bad. Levi's here. Mr. Laguna. Levi, who knows the difference between jealousy and envy and how they're not the same word. It's got to be cool to be half as old and twice as smart. He's a sharp guy. His name's actually Dylan, but I don't even know how many people know that. His name's Dylan Levi. We call him Levi, or most people do anyway. Well, that was a good deal. Chris 103 Customs got offered a 454 for $500. Wow.
Hard
You
to
can put a
find, though.
wrench on that and turn it. Hope you did it. See, here we go. I told you. Bear Rose says there's a guy on here called Ollie's Garage, and he lives away from the guy in Oregon that imports the Aussie stuff. Look him up. Ollie can help you do it. There's your hookup.
I'll check that out. That would be a cool build. That turns some heads.
Yeah, any kind of weird, obscure thing, there's always someone here that knows it. I just think that's wild.
Anybody ever seen somebody build an old Pontiac straight eight? I got to see one of those once, but I was always curious if someone could actually make it fast.
We have a fair number of Pontiac guys, but I don't know how many of them do anything with the straight eight. I think I saw, I don't know who was talking about the straight eight. Could have been the Pontiac. We have several Pontiac guys in this community. Dakota, Hunter, Thumper, Pure Pontiac, Garage, Punisher, Le Mans, Buff. There's a lot of them actually. Yeah, Ron is saying it looks like they were factored at 7.1. I thought that was probably realistic. I was thinking they were listed at 9 and probably actually closer to 71. Ron's saying they were factored at 7.1 pounds. So yeah. Any of you guys been checking out any of Dented Dreams content? Because I kind of was thumbing through looking at some of the stuff. I like I like the trucks particularly. I'm digging on the trucks. Uh, so what's the story on how you've come up with these?
Um, well, the original for the Loves anyway. They happened to pop up about 5 miles north of me, out in the middle of nowhere, on Facebook Market. So I drove out there, met the guy, and I for two Love pickups, um, he wanted like $700, and one was a parts truck, no title. The other one ran, but it wasn't running. So at no point did I actually think I was going to buy these things. Um, and he's like, "Oh man, oh we got to move. We got to move." This is the first time I ever had to drive a Geo Metro. Um, he's got like 10 cars and they're all in the way. So he's like, don't let it die. And I'm sitting there just revving the hell out of this Geo, moving it across his yard. Um, I'm over there for like 3 hours, and he can't get it running. He ends up taking a coil off the parts truck that still happened to be on the fender. But that was the next day that I actually got to drive it. So it was kind of funny. I had just started at my current job, and this guy worked manufacturing, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I got some new boss that I haven't met yet." And I'm like, "Oh well, where do you work?" Well, it turns out he actually worked for me, and he had no idea that I was the new boss. We just happened to run into each other solely due to a freaking Chevy Love out in the middle of nowhere, Nebraska, and that was a funny look when he realized that I was the new boss. But we finally got it running, and after driving that, we just took it out on the dirt road, and it was an experience. I had never driven a little mini truck before. I was kind of impressed with it, despite its sad little motor. Um, and I don't know, it just kind of grew into a little bit more of a hobby. I needed something to have fun with while we worked on the Monte Carlo or the Ventura, and it's kind of turned into what it is now quite unexpectedly. Um, I bought these thinking I wasn't going to be working on them for a few years, and here we are going down to a frame and trying to build one up for the No Name Nationals.
Now, how are you coping with the rust as you go?
For which one?
Well, either, because I've never seen a love that didn't have a lot of rust.
So I guess that's why we have three of them now.
Right.
This one was basically the one that we just got down to the frame. I posted one video on tearing it down and then a few shorts just on how bad the rust was. It was the worst I've ever seen. Even trying to get the cab off the frame, it literally just started disintegrating. I didn't even pull off any cab bolts. The only thing holding the whole front section, the cab and the front on, was the two core support bolts, which were mostly rotted away, and the steering column.
Funny you
Um,
say that. I did some cab mounts in a really rusty Ford, and when I was done, my buddy made me a trophy out of one of them.
nice.
Yeah, these were the same way. I just reached in and took that out with my hand. It's still bolted in.
So the hope was the Shetland itself is a 4x4, and I didn't want to destroy a perfectly good, I can't believe I'm saying this, Isuzu 4x4 frame and everything, doing a V8 swap and everything. So since I had the parts truck, I figured to take whatever parts were useful off the parts truck, get it down to a frame, and basically start from there. Good two-wheel drive parts truck.
That's pretty
So
cool. What's the interchange on that? You said a Zuzu truck, and I know it was obviously an import. What is the interchange on those? Because I don't know anything about them. I've never worked on one.
Um, well, for being a Chevy, everything's metric for 1980. The Isuzu motor is drastically underpowered. I tried to see if I could find a bell housing kit or something so I could hook the transmission up to a different engine. Couldn't find anything there. Um, I mean, it's kind of funny because the truck itself, it's six lug wheels all the way, or six lug hubs, or whatever you want to call it, all the way around. Um, it's a boxed frame. Um, two of them actually have a hydraulic clutch on them, so that was kind of ahead of their time. Like,
Yeah.
it's manual steering, but it's about the easiest manual steering you'll ever see. Um, I was kind of impressed with most of it. It's just they rust out really bad and they were severely underpowered. And then they have 14 gears in them, and I think that's to make up for the lack of power from the motor. But you try cruising 65 miles an hour, that four cylinder is just roaring.
Oh, I bet.
So I think they could have I think Chevy could have done a lot with those. Well, I think they did with the S10 in the 80s, but um, yeah, I just don't think that. I think they were just trying to get into the mini trucks as fast as possible, so they went with everything Isuzu on that. So
Now Ford took a weird track. So Ford had the Courier,
yeah,
and then they had the Ranger. Obviously you had the small Ranger. What was the first year of that? Barrows will know. Was it '83? Was the first small Ranger? See, I don't know if there was a gap in there. The S10 came out in '82. Didn't it? Was it '82? And did they run the Love right up to then?
I think the Love was 72 to 80, and then I think there's another sort of generation for 81, 82, but don't quote me on that. And then
Okay.
I think after that, it's all S10.
Right. I didn't know if there was a gap in there or not. That's interesting. 82 functional history says. He says 82.
But I
He's
think
a
the 81 and
kind of guy.
82 were vastly different than the 72 to 80s.
Well, who had the first of the mini trucks at all in America? Was it Datsun? Who had the first mini truck like that of that class?
Datsun's going back there, but I don't actually know.
Yeah, I don't either. That's a good question. We got some historians of such things in the chat. If anyone knows who had the first of the little mini trucks, who beat who by what? Was Datsun first or 72 was the first love? What year was the first love? Did you say 72?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, I don't know if Datsun beat them or not. It's an interesting concept. Volkswagen, of course, had that Combi Transporter in '59, but I don't count that at all. That was just a van with the back of the cab missing. That wasn't. Colleen would vote Datsun. Well, it's not a democratic thing. It's either right or wrong and out of a book, but I don't know it. Functional history is saying the Datsun 620. That sounds right. Yeah, we know they had the Courier first, but we're trying to figure out who was actually first to market with that thing, with that concept of the small truck.
Since I got into these mini trucks, I've wanted a Ford Courier, but I don't think I've ever even seen one.
Southern Juju is saying Datsun in '59. There was an American import Datsun in '59. Crosley had one in the 40. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, Tony's saying the Datsun 220 in '58, and that was imported for use here? Because I was thinking they were first. Later, Punisher. Take care, man. Punisher Ray, one of our perennial heads up racers. I'd say we're going to see some quick stuff out of the Le Mans this year. The first Jeep is that right, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about that class of mini truck. And Aunt D is saying Toyota in '68. That's back there too. But was that an American import? Did they have a American market Toyota in '68? Interesting. Well, you have anything for the chat here? I mean, we're glad to have you here. We're just kind of freestyling tonight. I knew at some point in time, we get you on and have a sub drive, and so we're just hanging out.
Hi. Maybe give it 2 minutes, pal. Well, I appreciate you having me on. It seems like a great community. I've met a few different channels now that I've started talking to quite a bit. So it's pretty neat, to be able to chat with people that have similar interests and goals, and they've all kind of got the same mindset. So it's already been fun, and haven't even gotten to the event yet. So.
Yeah, well, the community is a year-round thing. The event is just 3 days.
Yeah.
But you've got a pretty. What is your drive? Have you figured it out? What the drive down is?
600 miles from my driveway to Sykeston.
Okay. 600 miles. Are you coming down on Thursday, or are you going to come down Wednesday night? Or
I'm going to come down Wednesday.
Okay. Are you planning on camping?
I don't actually know yet. I heard that you can camp down there, but
yep.
I didn't know for sure. All the guys. Hi.
I bet the majority of people camp. There are probably more people camping than not.
Okay.
And it's great.
I might definitely camp then.
It's not loud at night. People do seem to go to bed at a reasonable hour, but the weather's great, so it is a good place to come down and camp. And there's also good places to stay if not. So
Buddy. Hi.
My mom babysits my dog during these live streams.
Yeah, they get starved for attention, and
Yeah.
then here we are.
Well,
So
see, my dog who was on the thumbnail for this live, he does not like these bright lights, so he won't hang out in here anyway. But if I don't have a sitter for him, he might get kind of rowdy and complaining or something. So that's what keeps the live running smooth. Is he's got a babysitter every Friday. Yeah, Tony says 600 miles is child's play. He comes in. Tony, what is your commute? Is it like 1,700 miles?
wow.
Yeah, he comes from Arizona. And he actually was only the third farthest this last year. We had Brent from Canada. He was almost 2,000. Scott's coming from Spokane, Washington. That's going to be quite a haul. We've got some 1460 one way. So Tony's Hot Rod Garage last year, he's got that long commute, and he blows out a brake caliper on his tow rig in Oklahoma, and he changes it under the awning of a gas station, and still comes on in and gets there early.
Wow.
He's a warrior.
That's impressive.
And Barrows stayed at the hotel the first year, but said he felt like he missed half the event or half the fun, so he camped out the track. I agree with that. I camped the second year too. Yeah, Dawn camps. A lot of these folks do.
Once I get this mini truck, build out of my system, then hopefully the next No Name Nationals after this one, I'll be bringing down my 1970 Monte Carlo. We should have it going by then.
Right on. I mean, the way I look at it is as long as people want to come and come and fellowship and have fun together, the cars take care of themselves. Like the first year, Big Mike brought a 51 Coronet. The second year, he brought a 31 Plymouth. And this year, he should be bringing is a 72 Charger, Mike. Is that what year it is? Is it a 72? So there's just all kinds of fun stuff like that. But there's something for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Main Street, camping and hanging out. Yeah. I do think that's the way to go, is to plan to camp.
I think that'll probably be my plan too.
Yeah. Well, we got about 15 minutes left in the chat, and any of you guys in the chat have anything? Tonight was pretty much freestyling. We really only had one kind of agenda thing, and that was we wanted to celebrate getting 500 subs together with Michael from Dented Dreams Garage. And he made it. He's in. He's punched his ticket. So
thank you.
First one to do so in 2024, and plenty more to come. Yeah, Dust Devil's got a big, long commute, 150 miles. Danny Boyd said it flew. Indeed, it did. Levi said he's a luxury kind of guy, at least have a blow-up mattress. Yeah, and Tony looked this up. I'm glad he reposted this. November of 57, Datsun put out that 220 pickup truck at the U.S. market. So, yeah, Datsun was that early.
Wow. Huh.
The Bad Tree guys always bring out a great show on the track, in the burnout pit, and in the pits themselves. Bad Tree guys bring the party. What can I say? Where else can you see a 73 Dart with side pipes, stacks like a semi, doing a burnout, an entire lap around that giant pit that we have? I mean, nowhere else you're going to see that.
That's pretty cool.
Big Mike digs your name there. Dented Dreams Garage. Any of you guys have anything for our guest here? We got him cornered for a little bit, so you got anything for him? Good time to ask. We'll be watching his channel, and now that he's crossed the 500 finish line, he can be cheering for the people to come after him. I think up next is Absurd Ty Higgins. He's up in the fours. I think he was a 418 earlier today. He's gonna make it. He's got a cool custom Chevy van. Yeah, Mike says his should be Demented Dreams.
Yeah.
Patrick Blake said, I sold a queen size blow up mattress to buy a keg in college once. Twisted Mopar's grinding on some heads. I hope you put up a video of that, Dennis. I'd love to see why you're taking 10 pounds of aluminum out of the push rod holes. That's pretty wild. Danny Boyd is waiting for the dog and the cat to get rambunctious. .38 says you going with the LS?
Yep. 5.3 LS motor.
That'll rock and roll. And Barrows, by the way, Barrows, he does a live stream every weekend, and he's a really good guy to ask to help grow your channel. Little things that will help get you subscribers, get you views, and maximize the effort you're putting into your content. He's a good one to ask. He kind of specializes in that. Yeah, like what time of day, what kind of stuff should go in your title, how to get the most out of what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, Levi loves his LS talk. He said, you're talking my language. Levi, are you going to scatter an LS this year? .38 has the right idea. He said, you're going to scatter that Saginaw. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I'm debating whether I'm going to do the Saginaw, even though I've got it sitting there, or if I'm just going to put a 4L60E in it. I got to make a decision in the next couple of weeks because I got to order some motor mounts from Power by Ace. So one way or another, I got to figure it out. But
yeah, we're going to have a fair number of trucks there this year, I'm sure. We always have, actually. We have what I call it that. I don't know who else. I call it the truck camp. They're kind of in the middle of the pits, kind of from about halfway down to about 2/3 of the way down the pits in the middle section. That's where all the trucks pit, it seems like. It's a bunch of them there. Chris is asking a good question. Can I use an MP 465 in a car? Yeah, I guess.
probably.
I don't know why not. What do you think? How would that fit?
Not well.
Yeah, Big Mike hasn't brought anything that's fast yet, but he's about to. If you want to feel better about anything you've ever taken a chance on in your drivetrain, go look at the drive shaft that Big Hoopty Mike ran the first year. and the irony of it was his drive shaft freaked me out. Yet it was two other guys that broke drive shafts.
Huh.
One of which I have. I have the frag drive shaft from Square Body Chad's truck. And so I'm working on doing a little bit of remodel here. I'm going to have it up. Because they won the best pit thrash for that, for breaking that drive shaft.
Wow. That's impressive.
Oh, yeah. He broke the drive shaft on the track and got a drive shaft, fabbed up a drive shaft, welded it all in the pits, and still made it for the burnout competition.
Wow.
Let's talk about putting your stuff to the test.
That's dedication.
So I don't know. if you realize that the NSB custom cars, Leighton Welding, some of our guys kind of set up a mobile shop there at the track. And you have a tire changer, a rim clamp coats tire changer, a welder. Uh, got some tools there if you need an engine crane, if you need to get something out of the car like that kind of work at the track.
Oh wow, that's awesome and unexpected.
Well, after the burnout competition, I walked through the pits at 7 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, and there were flat tires everywhere because that burnout competition is wild. I don't know if you watched any of the footage from last year's. Those guys throw down. Uh, it's a wild burnout competition. It's under the lights at night, and it's fun and crazy. And Saturday morning, there were flat tires off the rims everywhere in the pits. And so they go over and use the tire changer. And it's pretty cool to have that right there on site.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, useful entertainment here. He's saying Mike should put the steer skull on the front of the Love for No Name Nationals. Sounds good to me. That's as wide as the truck.
He just wants me to bring that down so he can steal it and put it on his wall.
He probably would. He probably would. He probably put it on that wagon that he has.
Put it on the Cutlass.
BNR's got a recommendation there saying Muncie 4-speed or the Borg Warner Super T10.
I've got a Super T10 that I'm putting in the Monty. I thought about another Muncie or Super T10, but man, the shifters and linkage and everything are so pricey. I just haven't found a cost-effective manual transmission I want to try out. I thought about going modern with maybe like an AR5 or maybe even an NV3500 if the shifter location wouldn't be a problem.
I like a T56. I don't know how it is finding them, but I've swapped one in. It was great.
So I actually saw Love on Marketplace recently. It was a really neat build. I think it was a 79 Love. They put a 5.3 motor in it with a Cadillac CTSV supercharger on it, it looked like, and it had a T56. But the T56 is so long that the shifter ended up literally back by your hip. Not that it wouldn't work, but it almost looked a little funky in the Love.
Is that like a whole desk there? She could jump up on top of that desk from the back. Yeah, see?
Yeah, they could. There's two of them running around, but fella got tired. The other one's name is Abaddon. I'm babysitting him for a week.
Mike says he might give the burnout competition a shot this year. It'd be hard to beat what Roland did. Roland puts 100% into everything. Everybody in the burnout competition really threw down, but the people that everybody knows are just Roland is always going to bring it. The Bad Tree guys are always going to bring it. Russell from Outfits really surprised us. William gives it everything he's got. He smoked out the neighborhood pretty good. We got a lot of guys that really throw down in that burnout competition. Marty saying you need a cab over shifter handle. This Camaro has a 10 tunnel. I don't know what that means. I remember putting a T56 in. I had to trim it a little bit where it was the one I did had a $700 originally. It turned out really nice. I actually didn't even use. I don't even have a template for the way the factory did it. The way I did it was I cut through with a small hole saw, and then I located off of the shifter in neutral, and then just put my plate down and traced it. I mean, how how much better centered could you be than centered on the actual shifter instead of centered to the original place on the floor, right? That way, even if your conversion hasn't moved a little bit, because I had mine back way up against the firewall, so probably is better the way I did it for the shifter that was in it than putting it in the factory spot.
It's definitely a good transmission. It's got a great name behind it. I've never actually gotten to drive one.
Why will you need a fog machine? You have 2 tires and some torque, right? NSB says, I hear Lenkos are fun. If you haven't seen that, he has a 68 Dart post car with a big block and a Lenko in it.
Those are pricey.
Oh, yeah. He had a match race with just Mopar Joe last year. 2 out of 3. Now Twisted Mopar say maybe I should put a link on my. Well, why don't you do it? Call out Lenko versus Lenko. That'd be a good one.
I'll watch that.
Levi's saying he'd like one, but they're expensive. Yes, they are. They are not cheap. Yeah, NSB Custom Cars there you see in the chat. Those are the guys who bring our tire changer, and they bring a welder, and they are really they're just super good guys, really helpful to us and help all of us do things like this. This is cool. I appreciate them doing that.
Yeah, that's an awesome thing to do. I'm sure that helps everybody out.
Big Mike wants to hook up a bubble machine to help with his smoke show. I tell you what, I think that, okay, so the first year was good. It was really good. The second year, people are like, we're going to throw down and just leave it all in the burnout pit. I didn't even think about it. I should have been videoing when Barkley was cleaning up the burnout pit. They had the sweeper down there, and they were just sweeping up mounds of rubber. Because our burnout pit is 156 by 94. It's huge. So by the time you sweep up all that rubber from end to end, just a mountain of it. I think we wound up just sweeping it up into big dust pans and shovels and putting it in trash cans. There was so much rubber. But it sounds like they're trying to outdo themselves for year 3 too. I mean, it's going to be wild.
That's gonna be fun to watch.
The NSB guys are indeed enablers. They are great. NSB guys had a hurricane came through Florida, and I know that one of them had a few inches of water standing in his living room, and his brother was watching the house, so he just took off. Cars were loaded up and came on anyway. Tony's going to bounce because he's on in about 2 minutes, and we're going to wrap up here. We're just going to wrap up. Tony goes live hot at 10. We'll hand off to him. So if anybody has anything last that they want to mention, anybody got anything that they're doing, Bill, they want to plug, anything like that? Mike, do you have anything for the chat? Because we're going to wrap it up, and Tony's Hot Rod Garage goes live, and I'll see all you guys over there.
Alrighty, well, I appreciate the subscriptions, comments, everything. You guys are great. This has been fun. This is the first time I've ever live streamed, so thanks for humoring me here.
Hey, it's been a blast. We're glad to have you.
I look forward to meeting everybody when we get down there.
Right on. Thank you, guys. We're going to call it there. See you at Tony's. Take care, and see you next Friday.
Thanks, guys.